sailor, Randa Jarrar. She has a sailor, a Turkish sailor, the summer she spends in Istanbul. When she comes home, it takes her 3 days to come clean about it to her husband. He says it doesn't bother him, and she tells him that it bothers her, and that it doesn't bother him. He asks if she prefers him to be kind, a man who is bothered by fleeting moments, and she tells him that yes, she prefers that he is that kind of man. He tells her he thinks she married him precisely because he is the kind of man that doesn't dwell on fleeting moments, because he is the kind of man who does not hold a grudge. She tells that the holding of a grudge or working up some anger about one's wife and a sailor is not the same thing. He agrees that holding a grudge isn't the same as working under some anger about wife and a sailor, but he adds, one's wife specifically known would never leave him for a sailor, not a Turkish sailor. In fact, he says she did not leave for a Turkish sailor. She is here, so why should he be angry? Now she becomes angry and asks him why he assumes she did not consider leaving him for the sailor. Besides, she says, she and the sailor shared a Muslim cultural identity, something she does not share with her husband. She asks if he had thought of that. He says he had not thought of that, and if he had considered it, she must have decided not to leave him for the Turkish sailor. He acquiesces that the Turkish sailor and she must have shared a strong bond over culturally Muslim, but he says he cannot imagine what else she would have had in common with the Turkish sailor. Plenty, she shouts. She had plenty in common with the Turkish sailor. Her husband wants to know what she had in common with the Turkish sailor. She had nothing in common with the Turkish sailor except that she was attracted to him and he was attracted to her. They spent a night in an unair-conditioned room in Karakoy by Galata Tower. In the morning, she woke up to the sound of seagulls circling the tower, zooming around hungrily, loudly. The Turkish sailor had heard the seagulls too. Then she had left. That was really all they had in common, the cultural identity and the seagulls and their time together. She tells her husband the story. He asks her what she wants him to say. She tells him she is angry. Has him say he is angry about the Turkish sailor, that he wishes they had... She tells him to shout it. Her husband refuses to say any of it. His refusal is quiet, not angry. When she sees him gazing placidly at her and refusing to say any of these things, she understands that this is his way of getting back at her for the Turkish sailor. And she also understands that for this, his lack of passion, his sense of logic, is the reason for the Turkish sailor. And it is also the reason she came home.